It is important for Ukrainian economy that people stay here, develop it and fill the budget, most of which goes to defense needs. However, sometimes people's desire to stay becomes the basis of restricting their right to move around the country. This is exactly what happened to Ukrainian businessman Vitaly Kropachov. He knew that certain investigative actions had begun against him. He left the country legally and returned. He didn't run away.
The State Bureau of Investigation entered me in the database of the border guard to control my exit and entry. On the 27th, the 29th, the information appeared in the database. The border guard service gave us an official explanation. At the same time, I am leaving. I can say whether on the 3rd or 4th of March. I was leaving, knowing all the limits of their control, and so on. I was leaving Ukraine, and on March 12th, I came back here, when all the bases have checked me out. There is nothing complicated about it. They warned me that there was such a story. It's being escalated. This indicates only one thing, in my opinion. If I didn't want to come back, I wouldn't have come anywhere.
Businessman Vitaly Kropachov was followed for more than one day. Surveillance vehicles accompanied him from home to office, also to business meetings. People in the black tactical clothing were working around the office. Kyiv-Pechersk, May 15, 8:10 a.m., 2 days before the detention. A dark-colored Skoda is parked near Vitaly Kropachov's house. The car has a license plate AI 9727OH. According to open sources, this number belonged to Nissan Rogue. May 15, a little later, the businessman motorcade is moving down Lesia Ukrainka Boulevard. A grey Hyundai is hanging on the tail of the motorcade from the intersection of John McCain Street to General Almazov Street. When the car slows down, you can see its license plate KA7526NK. According to open sources, the license plate belongs to a white Volkswagen Transporter. Remember this so-called Hyundai Transporter. It will be around today. As soon as the Hyundai makes a U-turn, a black Skoda license plate AI2863MN picks up the motorcade at the intersection of the Lesia Ukrainka and General Almazov Boulevards. The Skoda crew follows at the rules of the conspiracy. They drive slowly, keeping 2 cars away from the businessman's motorcade. The Skoda follows him for 3 kilometers up to the intersection of Lesia Ukrainka Boulevard, Mechnikova Street and Shovkovichna Street. According to open sources, this is not a Skoda, but a phantom car. There is no data on this car. But May 15th is still ongoing, which means that there are many car quests ahead. Vitaly Kropachov's motorcade is moving down Bogdan Khmelnytsky Street. Next to 11 Mirrors restaurant, a grey Hyundai with license plate KA7526NK is following the motorcade. Yes, it's the same Hyundai that pretends to be a white Volkswagen Transporter. You may recall that earlier on Lesia Ukrainka Boulevard it made a U-turn, but the chase was short-lived, about 100 meters. The crew stopped at the intersection of Ivan Franko and Bogdan Khmelnytsky streets, and to continue with the words of the classic, they continued to pound the rock. Pay attention how a man in the dark clothes with a bag over his shoulder quickly gets out of the car. The image definitely hints that the person is not in a hurry to go to the Ministry of Culture, which is a few meters away. The goal of the man in black is to walk another 300 meters and record that businessman Vitaly Kropachov has arrived at his office. Kyiv, Bessarabska Square, May 16, the day before the detention. Near the place where the businessman had a business meeting, a man in sportswear with a backpack appears. Remember his baseball cap with a white patch. The motorcade drives away and the man dives into the archway. Kyiv, Podil, Igorevska Street, May 16. It is evening, less than 12 hours before the detention. Vitaly Kropachov's business meeting. Again, a man in a sportswear with a backpack and a baseball cap with a white patch. Let's assume this is a coincidence. The man gets into a white Suzuki Vitara. According to open sources, the registration of this car is outdated. Kyiv-Pechерsk district, the intersection of General Almazova Street and Lesya Ukrainka Boulevard. Businessman Vitaly Korpachev's car is moving toward the Pechерsk bridge. A white Suzuki Vitara immediately appears behind the motorcade. The car loses the motorcade and does everything to catch up. It even violates traffic rules by driving the public transport lane. It violates alongside the petrol office crew that has stopped the same offender. But law enforcement officers do not pay attention to a white Suzuki with an invalid registration flying through the public transport lane. Of course, it can be assumed that the car was in a hurry to get the third meeting with Vitaly Korpachev. The surveillance and persecution were demonstrative and very visible. They were doing it too conspicuously. That's why Vitaly Korpachev's security saw all the cars, Toyota and Audi, with covered numbers. The businessman was warned that the attention was too much and could only mean one thing: preparation for a special operation. However, Korpachev stayed in the country because his mother and children are sick here, and in the end, the employees of the companies who work for Victory. He stayed. On May 17, near the hotel where Korpachev was having a business meeting, there were full of surveillance cars. In particular, a silver Volkswagen Transporter with a license plate AH0004EX had been parked on the roadside since the morning. Later, it turned out that this car had come to take Korpachev to the State Bureau of Investigation.
Of course, it was too much with the special forces, because they detained me with special forces. Why? I don't understand. We could see that we were being watched.
According to the court, one of the arguments why Vitaly Korpachev should be kept in custody is the fact that he can leave the country. But he did not use this option for 2 months, both when he knew about the investigation and when he saw those who had been following him for every day. We are continuing our journalistic investigation. Who may be behind the case of Vitaly Korpachev? Details in the next issue.